Hey guys, welcome back. As promised in the previous tutorial, today we're going to be writing some code just to reinforce the concepts. So let's begin by opening up a new project, console application, and select C. I'm going to call mine lecture 5 writing codes. Okay, leave everything default and open up your main. Okay, so let's begin with the comments just to let other programmers know what our program does in case they need to debug it. So what program objective? Let's put, we're going to be writing a program that prompts the user two floats values, then displays probably their product or division or addition and so forth. Okay, that's our basic comment here. This style of commenting is for style commenting a block of code versus the other option was to say objective, this program dot dot dot, and then once we push enter we'll have to do another one, and then displays their product and so forth. So if you use a block of code, oh my god. So let's begin by first commenting at the very top to let other users know what our program is supposed to do. Today we're going to write a program that prompts the user. This program prompts the user for two float values, then computes their product, division, quotient, subtraction, and so forth. So I have here my objective. Of course you want to put your name and your date as well, but I'm not going to put that. Okay, just wanted to remind you that for actual program you should fill those in, but in this tutorial just leave it blank. Okay, so we're gonna declare some variables for the user to enter. Here's his two float values. So user input, it's what I'm gonna call my variable name. User input 2, let's call this 1. Okay, both of these variables are not initialized because it will wait for the user to enter whatever input the user enters. So I need another variable to store their math operations. So if I'm gonna do user input 1 multiplied by user input 2, I need another variable to store that answer. So I'm gonna call that variable product. Simple as that. Another variable called quotient, and so forth. You could do subtraction and addition, but I'm not gonna do that. Just product and quotient is fine. Another way to declare these variables, since they're all float types, you could actually do this here. 1 comma user input 2 comma product quotient, and then you want to end all these with a semicolon. Okay, so I'm gonna comment this out. Another way of declaring variables. Okay, so just to let you know that there is another way of doing it. This is like a faster way instead of typing float 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 and all that stuff. So of course now you want to prompt the user, right? So to prompt the user you need some type of prompt. So we're gonna use printf and prompt the user by saying please. Okay, so after prompting the user you might want the user to input some value. So you use scanf to store the user input. Started with double quote, and since the user is expected to enter a float, all you gotta do is %f instead of %i, because in this case it's a float, so we gotta put f right after the double quotes. What variable do you want to store the user input? Well, we called it user input 1, so go ahead, type user input 1, and don't forget the address operator every time you're using the scanf. Okay, now I'm gonna copy this code and then paste it again for the second input. So please enter the second value. Okay, scanf is now user input 2. Okay, after the user enters both of the values, what do you want to do with it? Well, we gonna make those two values multiply. So all you gotta do is user input 1 multiplied by user input 2 semicolon. And where do you want to store this operation to? Well, I want to store it onto product, right? And in front of product you don't have to put float, because we already declared what type of variable is the product, as shown here. We said that it's a float right above, so every time you do that, don't declare it again. That's all. And the other one, we want user input 1 divided by user input 2 semicolon, and we're going to store this operation in a variable we called at the top, which is quotient. Okay. Just remember, you don't have to call these variable name product and quotient. You could call this x and so forth, but again, you want the variable name to be meaningful, so in the future you could identify what the variable do. So by doing this product, oh, I know my variable is supposed to multiply some integers or float or whatever. Now to print out the answer, I use printf. The answer is and let's put %f. After the double quote, put a comma, and whatever answer you want. Let's display product for this guy. Okay, and let me end the line here, so like that. So I'm gonna copy this and then paste it here. Now I'm gonna put quotient. So let's build this and run it. Here it is. Says please enter the first value. Let's do something we understand. So we expect some answer 2.5 and then enter. Please enter the second value 10. Okay, so the answer is 25, and then this is the quotient here, which is the dividing operation. So let's format the output a little bit, because here it says the answer is this. We don't know which one is which. Well, we do, but we want to explicitly put that on the screen. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna format this real quick. Basically, there are 3% F here. 1, 2, 3. What I want to do with this, the very first %F, I want to put user input, comma, user input 2. Sorry, it's supposed to be user input 1. And now basically user input 1 will fill in this F, so it's gonna say the product of whatever this is with %F, whatever this is equal to this %F, which will be filling in for product. Okay, I'm gonna copy this, but now I'm gonna do the quotient of this, and just change this to quotient. Okay, and build this and run it again. Let's put 2.5 again and 10, as you can see here. And if you want to format how many decimals, you could do that as well. Put, let's say, 3 decimal places. 3. Let's do 3. And of course this guy as well. And let me just show you the difference between this line and this line when we format the float values. So 2.5 and 10. That's shown here. You see the very first display, which is the product, I formatted to 3 decimal values. That's why it's only 3 digits after the decimal. Whereas the second print statement here, I didn't really format the floating value. That's why by default it displays this much decimals after the period. So that's it with the floating point formatting. So let me quickly recap this real quick. At the very top, we declare the variables by some type of variable names, and I call mine user input 1 and user input 2. There are different ways you could declare these. A faster shortcut is you could actually do it this way, but if you do it this way, you want to comment this whole thing out. So you could use it like this. Well, that means it's perfectly fine to declare your variable this way. It's more efficient, I guess. Alright, so in our second program, I think we're gonna make some random numbers and create like a lottery game. This is a very rough draft because we haven't learned about loops, but just for now, we'll make a simple lottery game. So let me comment this whole thing out so I don't have to delete anything here. So everything's fine here. So let's random numbers. First random number, they're gonna be integers, of course. Our number 1, or number 2, or number 3, 5, and I think lottery is 6 numbers, I believe, with the mega, or mega. Okay. Now to generate random numbers, what you have to do is seed. To seed, you just put this command here and semicolon. However, every time you seed a number, you have to import a library. So to do that, pound include what library? We want the time, which gives you a random time library here. So now let's do our number, so we don't have to put int again because at the very top we already have it as this. Okay, so delete this, our number. To generate some random numbers, this is what you type: ran and empty brackets here, and you use what we call the modulus operator. If you don't, that's gonna give you a broader range, so I want to confine specific range, so I think let's put 42. I think that's with that, and our number 2 rand, same thing, 42, right? So I'm gonna copy this and so forth. 5, and that's it. Okay, call this 3, 4, 5. Now for the mega number, it's a slight difference. The range goes from 1 through 52 or something. Now notice all of these statements here, it will generate from 0 to 42 because computer tend to start counting from the value 0. So to make this random number count from 1, all you gotta do is put +1 here in front of all these guys, give you numbers from 1 to 42, and this we want 1 all the way up to 52. So you need this 1 or else it's gonna give you 0 to 42, so you have to add 1 to shift it up. Okay? Now to print out the answer, just use printf. Okay, I'm gonna put %i, %i, I'm gonna put the mega in a different line. Okay, so let me, in order that, end the line and fill this up, our number 1, 5. Okay, so let me copy this so I don't our mega. Okay, so run this and build it and you should be good. And there it is. 5 numbers on the first line and the mega on the second line. So you want to go ahead, if you can modify this if you like, is, see, there you go, 5 numbers here and your mega right here. So hopefully you understand what this program does. In this tutorial I introduce you to the concept of random numbers, and for to generate that randomness you have to seed this. So to seed this you have to import the library here, time.header. So that's all.